Good day. The state television company of Western Armenia presents all the most important events of these days. Today's broadcast, conference dedicated to the 44-day war in Artsakh. On May 19th, a Zoom conference will be held on a topic, the general situation of Western Armenia. A monument of the victims of First Patriotic and Artsakh wars has been desecrated in the village of Azokh occupied by Azerbaijan. The Armenian community of Uruguay donated valuable materials about the genocide of Armenians to the Genocide of Armenians Museum Institute. Baku confirmed that they have refused to fulfill their obligations to release Armenian captives, an Armenian who returned to the Sur in Tigranakert quarter 42 years later. Root of the Armenian ballpoint pen, the Armenian holiday of Tsakhkazard. At the initiative of Chairman of Highest Club Association of Price Region, Mrs. Michelle Tergevorkian, the representative of the Autonomous Republic of Artsakh in France, Hovannes Gevorkian, presented the situation in Artsakh, after which discussions were held with the participants. It is noteworthy the presence of Mayor Sophie Joyzan, who opened the conference in her own words, emphasizing that the city of Aix and Provence initially supported the civilian population who became victims of the war. The mayor thanked the senator of the city of Bois-de-Rome, Mrs. Brigitte de Veza, who has just returned from Yerevan after a long mission. Chairman of National Council of Western Armenia, veteran of First Artsakh War, Artsakh, who was in Armenian during the Second Artsakh War, intervened to remind about the rights of Artsakh Armenians in relation to Western Armenia and clarified that the deported families of Azerbaijani occupied city of Shushi appealed to the government of Western Armenia to defend their rights in the European Court of Human Rights. This request is still in progress. Dear compatriots, we invite you to take part in the 8th session of the online conference of General Situation of Western Armenia, which will be held on May 19th. The speaker of the conference is President of Western Armenia and the Chairman of National Council of Western Armenia, Artsakh. The meeting will be chaired by the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Western Armenia, Lydia Markosyan, beginning at 9 p.m. French time. To receive an invitation to participate, register using the following link on our official website. As a result of trilateral statement of November 9, 2020, a monument of victims of Patriotic and First Artsakh War was desecrated in the village of Azokh, which is under the control of Azerbaijan. The video and photos of publication clearly show how the Azerbaijani side desecrated the graffiti monument, violating the internationally established principles of integrity of the heritage. We want to remind you that Article 4 of 1954 Hague Convention on the protection of cultural property in the event of armed clashes prohibits any action of vandalism, theft, robbery, and imposes an absolute ban on repression against cultural property, according to the Second Hague Protocol of 1999, which also applies in a case of non-international clashes. Any act of hostility against heritage is prohibited, and such an act is qualified as an international crime under Article 15. According to Article 53 of First Protocol of Geneva Convention of August 12, 1949, it is prohibited to commit any hostile acts against cultural heritage and use them for military purposes or make them to subject of revenge. A number of important materials about the history of Armenians and the genocide of Armenians were handed over the Genocide of Armenians Museum Institute by the Armenian community of Uruguay. Brochures, leaflets, and books. Director of Museum Institute Harutun Marutian noted that Uruguay is of great importance to the Armenian people, since it was the first state in our modern times that wanted to recognize the genocide of Armenians on April 24, 1965. So, according to Article the 1st, April 24th or the following year is declared the Day of Remembrance of the Armenians, the honor representatives of the nation killed in 1915. All these materials handed over us to the Armenian community of Uruguay are of great importance of our museum. The director of the museum said. Ambassador of Uruguay to Armenia, Eduardo Rosenborg, noted that it was glad to transfer important materials to the museum on behalf of Armenians living in Uruguay. Uruguay is a small country, but it has a large Armenian community, which is very active and has managed to integrate perfectly into the society of Uruguay. This year is very important for Armenia and Uruguay as the 13th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between these two countries is celebrated on May 27th, says the ambassador. The Azerbaijani Foreign Minister considers the accusation of Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan during his visit to Netherlands motiveless. The unfolded accusations made by the Armenian Prime Minister against Azerbaijan, including statements on humanitarian issues that are far from reality, show that Armenian leadership is completely not sincere in the settlement of relations between these two countries, Abdullayeva said. The provision of mats of minefields by Armenia is not a humanitarian gesture. It was an obligation of Yerevan within the framework of trilateral statements of November 10, 2020. After signing this document, 219 people became victims of mines of Azerbaijan, and they were mostly civilians, Abdullayeva said. As for the accusations for non-return of arrested Armenians, Baku considers them saboteurs who were sent to the territory of Azerbaijan after the end of the war. Unfolded accusation against Azerbaijan call into question Armenia's readiness to act in the name of peace, Abdullayeva said. After 42 years of absence, Erol Bostanjin, an Armenian by nationality, visited the Sur quarter of Tigranakert, where he was born and grew up, and was very disappointed to see his former house in ruins. According to him, the new structures have destroyed the spirit of the streets. I have nothing left to keep here, Bostanjin said. During this period, people of different identities and faiths have been living together with centuries, and Armenians were mainly concentrated by the people in the Guvar Mahales quarter, where Erol Bostanjin was born and grew up. Bostanjin explained his feeling. He summarized his speech about the situation prevailing in the city. Not an inch of the old Sur is left. All the houses are demolished. I can't breathe here. The manuscripts of Matinadaran show that the first ball engravings were invented by Armenian writers back in 1166 in Romkle. In a manuscript written that year, a gospeller was recorded with a ballpoint pen in his hands. From the mention of Stefanos' pen, it becomes clear that dipping the pen he wrote 700 letters, about 1 page. This confirms that the pen is of Armenian origin, since no such case is mentioned in the old bibliography until 1166. On May 13th, Mother Nature Festival of Godness and Ahit on Areg month and Areg day. After 54 days of New Year Easter, the first holiday of year is celebrated, which is called Tsakhkazard. Tsakhkazard is a motionless sunny celebration of flowing of Mother Nature. Before the sunrise of the holiday, already at midnight, the constellation of Virgo appears on the top of the sky, also known as the constellation of Thorn, which is also a symbol of Godness and Ahit, and therefore the holiday has a female character. According to the legend, the day before the holiday, the girls go with their jugs in the morning and take from 7 springs 7 handfuls of water, 7 kinds of flowers, 7 leaves of trees, and collect stones from 7 streams. At midnight, they leave the jugs on the roof of the house under the open sky to see the moon and stars, so that they transfer their magical powers to the water. In the morning, they take a sip of this water, pour it on the threshold of the house, and pour the rest of the fate into a jug. Everyone threw their personal item into this jug, then pulled it into a fate, removed them from the jug, and whoever come out of it with its fate. During the day, houses were decorated with flowers, girls wore flower crowns, and a statue of our goddess Anait walked the streets decorated with flowers. Tsakhkazard was also celebrated with great events, national songs and dances in the temple of goddess Anait and goddess Azokh. Now musical part, Armenian folk song, Ani Kharatian, Karin Dag. The full version of this video is available on Western Armenia's YouTube channel. This was all for today. Goodbye.